Hello everyone, this is Spades, and today I'm going to talk about mental states, and I'm going to touch upon the idea of a baseline state, which I don't think such a thing exists. We go about our day assuming that, or we go through our lives assuming that we have a baseline mental state that doesn't change much throughout long periods of time, but that's really not the case, because day by day we have a lot of internal and external influences, and they sort of affect each other, and it's very important to be aware of how these influences are guiding our thoughts, feelings, states, and ultimately our decisions. So, when I say we, I mean, in general, people are very caught up in what's temporarily going on in their minds and how they're feeling, and it's difficult to decouple how certain thoughts or feelings are shaping our decisions that may affect us perhaps just that day, or perhaps in the long run. And it's important to be able to step back and observe what could possibly be causing such thoughts and feelings, and define a state which you think is capable of giving you the most optimal decisions, whether that's the most rational ones, or the ones most in line with your values, or the most positive ones, whatever that may be for you. It's important to keep in mind that what you may be basing your decisions on at the moment might be heavily influenced by your current mental state. So, whether that's by an external factor, like, how much caffeine you've had, whether you're on a caffeine high or a caffeine crash, or a sugar high or a sugar crash, that has very different, it seems negligible, but that might have very different effects on the decisions that you make at the moment, which might have a snowball effect on the future. So amount of sleep, amount of lack of food, exercise, and especially things that are more subtle that you might not even be aware of, such as stress, long-term stress, that's been accumulated over time, or problems in other aspects of your life, maybe things you've been suppressing or ignoring that are manifesting through your thoughts, influencing your decisions unconsciously. Things like that might have a huge impact on what you think is your baseline state. And it's all about reframing. You might consider yourself a negative person, or maybe a realistic person, and you might get caught up in perhaps stress, long-term stress that you're feeling, and you associate, your baseline state as, stressed or anxious, without even realizing that that's a negative thing necessarily, or constantly it might be a physical something, you might be fatigued, which you know, maybe clouds your mind, and you assume sort of that that's your baseline state, and you make poor decisions based on that. And it's important to narrow down what things you changes you can make to your entire life, or even just simple changes in your daily life, that will give you that more optimal decision-making ability and that more optimal mental state. You know, whatever that is for you, whether it's you know, feeling powerful, feeling really happy, feeling connected, loving, loved, in control, whatever that is for you, find out what those states are. You know, relax, whether it's, you know, you're in a relaxed environment, feeling blissful or whatever, get there, find out what those are, find out if the decisions you make in those states are more optimal, and then find preferably a natural way to remember those states, to, if not put yourself in them, at least step back from how you're currently feeling. You know, might be caught up in stress. Step back, remember how you felt when you were relaxed, and try to make decisions from that standpoint, or at least tell yourself, you know, I'm only feeling this temporarily. Perhaps I have to change this and this and this, and I won't feel like that anymore, or perhaps I have to do this even though it seems ridiculous at the moment, but it's ultimately for the better. So yeah, it's a multi-step process. So it's knowing what internal or external, or, you know, combination of, because it's difficult to determine, factors are influencing what you think is your state, and which factors you'd like to influence your state, which states you prefer or make most optimal decisions on, and how to get yourself to remember that your current thoughts and feelings are not you. They are influenced by so many other factors, and you could change them, and if not, you know, forcefully change them, at least remember that they're temporary, and you could make much more optimal decisions had you been feeling differently. So yeah, that's a brief overview of something I consider important, and I'd like to talk more about it, and if anyone wants to start a discussion with me, feel free to. So yeah, have an excellent day, and don't get caught up in your mental states, and capture those positive ones, and yeah, enjoy. Peace.